As it relates to solely for the purpose of this hearing, speaking with Mr. Jackson, was it only this interaction that we heard on the audio today?
Correct.
I have no further questions.
Cross.
Good afternoon, Investigator Viverito.
Good afternoon.
Just to be clear, you spoke of meeting with Detective Hogan and looking at a video. That was a video of just gentlemen at a gas station, correct?
Correct. There was a surveillance video from both the interior, I think, and exterior of a gas station. Yes.
Right. So it was not a video of a crime being committed.
No.
Okay. So you said that at this time you were employed by the district attorney's office at the time that this interaction with Mr. Stillwell occurred?
Correct.
Okay. And could you give me your title one more time with the DA's office?
When this happened?
Yes.
I was a senior investigator in the gang unit.
Senior investigator with gang unit. All right. As a senior investigator with the gang unit, you were tasked to go to scenes of suspected gang-related crimes, correct?
No.
That day, did you not?
That day I did as part of APD had asked me to come out for if that's not a task. Basically, from the DA's office, we'll go out to homicide scenes, things of that. Sorry, with the DA's office, we'll go out to homicide things and scenes of that nature. If we are requested by another agency to come out, then we will. But that's not like a day-to-day thing.
Okay. As senior investigator of the gang unit, you also have access to gang databases with the DA's office?
No, we didn't have a gang database at that time.
There was no gang database?
Not with the DA's office, I don't believe. I didn't have access to one. I would reach out to the Atlanta Police Department for their investigative files, but they don't have a gang database.
Okay, so you had access to investigative files regarding suspected gang members?
Well, I want to be clear on what we're talking about. So I have access to, or I would request people to get me information from their investigative. So the gang investigative files are a completely different system than their reporting system. So for like homicide reports or investigator case notes, I don't have access to that. No.
Okay, well, what about the gang system?
At that time, no, I would have to call the gang unit and say, hey, do you have any information on this person or this? I didn't have access.
Did you maintain communication with the gang unit?
Yes, I work with them daily.
And when we're saying the gang unit, we're talking about the APD gang unit?
Correct.
And would that be Investigator Dennis, Investigator Gaither?
Well, they've since retired, so they're not there.
Who are the individuals you're speaking about?
I work with Detective Flores, Detective Dabney.
Well, look like they're trying to see if the gang unit got any corruption going on with just trying to get YSL banned for no reason.
Detective Underwood. I'm trying to think who else was up there at that time. Those are the main ones I would work with at that time.
Okay. And you were also, at that time, primarily listening in on a wiretap of a suspected YSL associate, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And
Two.
Two suspected YSL associates. And when I say that you were listening in, you actually did the listening in some of the time, correct?
Correct. We ran a 24-hour double wiretap, and the wiretap room always had to be attended to. So we had 3 shifts that would run 24 hours a day. So I would pick a shift during the day, and then sometimes I would do 2.
And they had a 24-hour. Y'all hear that? They had a 24-hour shift that it was just listening to the phone.
Shifts to help out, but there was always somebody in there. I would occasionally work a shift.
Were you in charge of that wiretap? Meaning, did the other people that were listening in your off time, did they report back to you with reports or anything of that nature?
I wouldn't say in charge. I was the affiant, and I would update like daily reports about things that are going on or what they could listen out for, or try to help people, because some people didn't know, like they don't know this group as well as I do, or Kim or Underwood or other people do. So I would speak with them daily. So I would stop by the room daily at least, or stop by the office daily, but I wouldn't say they'd report to me every day. They'd call me if they had questions or things of that nature.
You were kept abreast of things that were heard or not heard on the wiretap?
Correct.
Okay. All right. So as the I'm going to go back to March 14th. As the senior investigator of the gang unit in the Fulton County District Attorney's Office, you had no knowledge of Shamal drinks before March 14th, correct?
No, and I'm going to correct you about the senior investigator. I think everybody in the gang unit that it's like a rank was a senior investigator. So it's like you're not an entry level investigator, you're a more seasoned investigator. Shamel drinks, and speaking with his family, it sounds like he began hanging out with the YFN guys somewhat around, I think they had given us the time frame of Super Bowl, that those were not his original friends, that he had just started maybe hanging out with those guys a few months prior to this all happening.
So I just want to be clear. These conversations with family occurred after his death?
Correct.
Okay, so at the
Hi, I'm Jill with Closet Factory. And I'm Sierra with Closet Factory right here in Jacksonville.
the affiant of the wiretap had not heard any relevant information about Shamal Drink's murder on the wiretap.
I don't know. I can't tell you when we started hearing bits and pieces on the wiretap, but as far as like when the murder happened and the day or so following, I didn't hear it. And then nobody had reported to me. I checked in with the monitors and nobody had reported it. I didn't hear anything about it. So we didn't think there was anything wrong.
Okay. Now, is it fair to say that the Waters Road shooting on March 16th, well, let me ask you this first. Was there a prior shooting of the Waters Road house
Yes.
earlier that month? And what date did that occur?
I want to say on the 13th.
It was before the Shamal Drinks shooting?
I'm not sure if it's the 13th or 14th. I'd have to, I believe prior to, yes. It was prior to, I can't give you the exact date. I believe the 13th.
To your knowledge, has anyone determined who committed either of those shooting acts to the Waters Road house?
I don't know if we've determined, but I think there are some investigative leads that lead me to believe who may have been responsible.
Who is that person?
I mean, there are some NIBIN leads, but they're undetermined as to who the party would be. In my opinion, I mean, shell casings match scene of Christian McMiller and Darius Ford's homicide. So it would be whoever was associated with that incident.
And no one has been charged with any of those incidents?
Not yet. It's still an open case.
Okay. So is it, to your understanding, is it fair to say that the shooting of the Waters Road house on March 16th occurred at approximately 12:08 a.m.?
It could have. I want to say I got there between 2 and 3. So that's around the time frame, I guess.
Okay. And I believe that you indicated on direct that you arrived between 2:30 and 3 o'clock.
Around then, yes.
Okay. And you spoke to law enforcement first?
Correct.
And when you arrived, to your understanding, you didn't place handcuffs on Mr. Stillwell, did you?
No.
Okay. And was Mr. Stillwell already in handcuffs when you arrived?
Everybody was separated in patrol cars. It was very dark. Like I said, I couldn't really see who was in cuffs or who wasn't in cuffs. I just knew, I was told they were all victims at that point. That's when I tried to, based on my dealings with Shannon and Demikian, maybe approach them and just say, hey, like, reach out, like, what is going on? Like, we can't continue like this.
Okay. So was Shannon isolated he was by himself in the police car?
Correct. They were all separated in
Okay.
separate cars.
And he was in handcuffs?
Correct.
Do you know the exact time that you began asking Mr. Stillwell questions?
I know it was raining pretty hard that night. I was exhausted, so I got it right when I got there. I spoke to law enforcement. Like I said, I think maybe, I can't remember who I spoke with. They kept saying they're all victims. There's drive-by shooting. Nobody's being cooperative at this point. So it was shortly after I arrived. I don't know the exact time.
Was Mr. Stillwell present when those officers told you that they're all victims?
He was in the car, but I don't know what had happened prior to me arriving.
Okay, so when you say he was in the car, he was not present for that conversation
Right.
that you're speaking of?
Correct.
Okay, with other law enforcement.
Correct.
And did you Mirandize Mr.
No.
Stillwell?
Anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you.
All right.
All right, so there y'all see it. They went to asking the gang unit, the head of the gang unit, some questions to see if she was really knowing too much and doing too much to get somebody involved in the gang RICO charge. So I don't know if the lawyer gonna be successful with this strategy, but let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Catch y'all in the next one. Peace.